Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new season, a new episode. After a long, long time, we're back with a new season of Listen Up. In this particular episode, we are going to be covering your questions, your queries, and your concerns, and the rumors that have been running around the city about Cedar's admission process. And for a discussion on this, we have two guests with us. We have Mr. Ali Qazi, who is the chief operating officer of Cedar School and Cedar College. And we also have the head of admissions, Ms. Fatima Khurshid. She is also the head of admissions for both Cedar School and Cedar College. How are you guys and how is it going?
Very busy.
Busy times, and we're good. Thank you for asking.
So they're busy because admission process जो है वो बहुत वही bigger, better, stronger इस तरीके से चल रहा है. And so there are a lot of concerns, there are a lot of questions regarding this admissions process. बहुत सारे rumors भी चल रहे हैं. जिनका admission होता है वो कहते हैं "हाँ, बहुत आसान था, सबका हो जाता है." और जिनका एडमिशन नहीं होता बोलते हैं यार ये तो किसी का भी नहीं, तो इतना टफ प्रोसेस है. So we need to clarify a lot of things about this. Clarify se bhi zyada, we need to inform our audiences and our prospective students what exactly to expect in the admissions process. So can you please elaborate, any of you, what on what the admission process is for Cedar and what's so unique about this admission process?
So I think the admission process at Cedar is fairly easy, the applying part. The application is online. You apply online, you fill in all your details. I honestly think it doesn't take more than 15 minutes. And then once you apply, we shortlist the application. Again, takes us about 24 to 48 hours. And we will send you a link through which you can select your interview slot. And yeah, and then we just take it from there. So the entire process from the time of application till you select your interview slot could take as little as about 3 to 4 days.
That's it. 3 to 4 days. That's really, really fast for any educational institution. But Mr. Qazi, can you please, Chief साहब हैं तो इनसे ज़्यादा तमीज़ से बात करें. Chief साहब, अगर ज़्यादा लंबी करेंगे तो हम कह सकते हैं बस भाई बस ज़्यादा बात नहीं Chief साहब. Anyway, तो आप can you elaborate on what's unique about this admission process? I mean, how does the admission process of Cedar set it apart from other schools ki, ya other institutions ki admissions process?
First of all, we're completely online for the most part, apart from the actual documentations that is required from for Cedar, which is going to be attested from your school, of course. Apart from that, everything is online. You see, we even let you choose your interview slots. So whichever day or whichever time is convenient for you, we'll give you like a preset slots, and you can choose one of those slots, which gives you much more flexibility on when you want to attend the interview and do the interview. In addition to that, since we have two campuses, like Cedar has one campus in THA and the other one is at PCHS. So if you're applying to that particular campus, you can also come for the interview in that particular campus.
And that is particularly for the college,
Yeah,
for the schools as well.
yeah. So I'm particularly talking about only Cedar College. सिर्फ Cedar College की बात हो रही है. So in Cedar College we have two campuses, DHA and PCHS. Whichever campus you're applying to, sorry, you can choose that particular campus to give the interview. The benefit to that is that after the interview, you can kind of like take a tour of the campus and see the classrooms and other learning spaces and extracurricular spaces, which is kind of most students actually want to do that.
Yeah, and they're wonderful campuses. Trust me, I teach here. Uh, we all do. Anyway,
I think one of the unique things about Cedar's interview process is that you will meet most of the people who are a part of our interview team are counselors also. So they will counsel you on your subjects, where you're heading, and so there's a lot of discussion that way. And it helps, regardless of whether you decide to come to Cedar or not. At least there is clarity आ जाती है कि अच्छा जिंदगी में करना क्या है. अगर if I want to take up engineering, what subjects do I need to study at A levels? Do I need to take up math if I want to do pre-med? ये सारी सब चीजें
So
जो है उसको
subject
take care of
counseling
that.
essentially.
Yeah.
and that's the best thing about Cedar. I think what while we're talking about the admissions process, admission ke alawa bhi, if I talk about Cedar, I think the strongest suit that Cedar has is its counseling. I myself, being a teacher and the head of a department, and I also counsel a lot of my own students as well. And there is this entire counseling department which takes care of you from even before the admissions.
Yeah.
So whether you get admitted into Cedar or not, you do get some bit of counseling.
Yeah, even the interview itself, I think a part of it is the subject counseling. I'm glad a lot of kids actually know which subjects they need to take because they've done the research themselves. But for those who haven't, the interviewer is well equipped to kind of guide them. And our interviewers range from being doctors, engineers, business students, and humanities. Interviewers range from like senior management, even teachers and principals. So we are well equipped to kind of counsel for the most part to the students. And if there is something specific, very unique, then we'll set up a counseling session for that particular, let's say, field. So that's something that's very unique to Cedar that I don't think a lot of people are doing.
That's a good thing. Plus, if you keep following, moving on to the next question, if we follow Cedar's social media, there are so many posts about different rounds of admissions, and there's people want to know how many rounds there are of admissions and how I mean how long is the application process open for? Can you please elaborate on that?
Okay, so there essentially you can categorize the rounds in four different rounds. The first one is the round one, which we call the early admission cycle. This starts somewhere around mid of October, late October, and it ends usually towards the end of December, early Jan. In this round, there are two main features to this round. The first is teacher selection. So every student that applies in round one will get a teacher preference form. They will get that teacher preference form and they can give their preference for each subject they're choosing at Cedar. That's one unique thing about round one. The second thing is the scholarship. First of all, the earlier you apply, the more chances you have to get scholarship, right? That's a very important point, right? So if you were like one of the first 100, 150, or 100 to 250 applicants, you generally have the highest probability of getting scholarship because of course there's a fund, it gets depleted as students get the scholarship. Additionally, you whatever scholarship you get on your tuition fees, so let's say if a student gets a scholarship of 50%, that will be applicable on the tuition fees in addition to their admission fees. So the all of the same percentage, whether it's 50, 40, 60, whatever it is, the same percentage is applied on the admission fees. Now, one more unique thing about that is that in O3s, when they give their papers, which will be in May, June 2023, and they'll get the results in August 2023. If you've already been admitted as a round one student, and later on, let's say you got 50% scholarship in round one in the early admission cycle, and later on you got, let's say, 7A stars, excluding Urdu, Pakistan Studies, and Islamia. There's a scholarship grid. They can see it on the website. We can even put that link into the description of this podcast. Let's say later on the student gets 7A stars. That is equivalent, according to the matrix, 100% scholarship. So that 50% that the student got initially will be bumped up to 100% and will be retrospectively applied. So if somebody's already paid 50% of the admission fees, of course, because they've gotten the admission, they'll get a refund for that.
Oh, that's very nice.
And in addition to that, one of the most unique things is that scholarship won't go down. So let's say if somebody gets 2A stars, 3A stars, which is equivalent to less than 50%, it's not like that 50% will go down. You only have a chance of increasing that scholarship, no chance of decreasing that scholarship. That's an unconditional scholarship if you give it in round one, and which has an opportunity to increase. The second round, of course, the teacher preference form. First of all, there will be a lot of teachers who have already been exhausted because, of course, some people are taking 3 batches, 4 batches. Space runs out. In addition to that, we also don't give guarantee preferences. In round one, we guarantee preferences. In round two, there is less guarantee. Round three, there is less. And in round four, which is even less. Round two starts early Jan. Round three, we start generally around, I think, March, right?
Yeah.
Just
She starts around March.
yeah.
So this time around, what we've done, because we've had uh this time around, mashallah, say we've had a lot of applications in round one.
Yeah.
So the last date to apply for round one this year is the 10th of December.
Yeah.
So that's when the application process will end. Interviews will continue till well into December, but you won't be able to apply as a round one applicant after 10th December.
Oh.
So apply early because the benefits are greater when you apply as early as possible.
And one more thing, I think what we'll do is we'll put a link to all the features of different rounds in a PDF or a document so that you can kind of review it after the podcast if you want.
Definitely, definitely. There's going to be a lot of informational material that will be posted along with this video because, of course, we want to clarify what the entire process is and how you can benefit from being an early bird. Early bird wale bahut sare fayde hain, and it does not depend on. I mean, it's not about penalizing anyone who applies late or anything. It's just that it becomes very easy to once the space starts to fill up, then of course your options are going to reduce. So these are the benefits. Yeah.
I think this is the highest amount of applications we've ever gotten in the past 8 years. It's been 8 years, right?
Yeah.
And it's been so crazy that we had to find more interview slots. These people were teachers. Yeah.
Days. Usually, what we do is that one day we're interviewing at DHA and the next day we're interviewing at PCHS. But this time around, halfway into the cycle, now where there are 3 days where we're interviewing on both campuses. So our team is stretched. But I mean, there's such a lot of demand, and we keep getting emails about like, हमें slot नहीं मिल रहा, हमें slot नहीं मिल रहा, कुछ करें. That we've opened up more slots to accommodate more students.
All right. Okay. So, like I said, space is running out, time is running out. So apply now. You spoke about the scholarships,
Yes.
right? So, are these scholarships only based on academic performance, or are there any scholarships for like sports-based activities or being excellent in, let's say, debates or other extracurricular?
I'll talk about the academics and then Fatma can take on to the rest of the scholarships. You see, there are different types of scholarships. There's academic, there's sports based, which is if you go to a particular sport, and then there is armed forces discount,
Discount.
there is sibling discount, and then there are other financial aid, which is need based. So the first one, which is academic, is based on your current academic record from your school, from your CAIs, and your interview, and that's where we determine the academic scholarship. And then I'll let Fatma talk about the others.
So basically, what happens during the interview, of course, I mean, you're applying to an educational institution, so of course, we are assessing your academic profile, right? Magar, during the interview, we're not just assessing that. So there are lots of questions about your extracurricular activities, how you're balancing things out. So when we start assessing the scholarships during the early cycle, it's a mixture of everything. So your academic merit-based scholarship is actually a mixture of your grades and your extracurriculars. Sports scholarships जो होती हैं वो sports department decide करता है. Interviewer जो है वो उनका नाम आगे दे देता है, and then they're based largely on trials, unless of course you're a national level player, in which case we
That's
tell
a
the
separate
sports
case altogether.
department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've represented Pakistan or Sindh in a particular level, like for example, we've had a student who's represented Pakistan in Asia Games, I think.
Golf also.
Yeah, in golf,
Golf,
represented
had
Pakistan.
number
So
one.
that's a completely different case.
Yeah. So in that case, of course, we have a little bit of leverage. But otherwise, the sports department does trials, and then they decide which kids, the students they want to give scholarships to.
In that particular case, it's literally like someone achieving like the best across all subjects in O levels or something. It's literally like that.
But on the extracurricular front.
On the extracurricular side, yeah.
And then we have a lot of discounts also. So any applicant whose parents are part of the armed forces, they get a certain amount of discount. Then there's the sibling discount also. So if your sibling has graduated from Cedar College or is currently
Saga bhai behan,
studying,
first of all.
Saga. That's also if you're part of biological Cedar family, let's put it that way. तो जो है अगर आपका भाई बहन जो है वो ग्रेजुएट कर चुका है या जो है A2 में है या आपके साथ एडमिशन ले रहा है तो देयर आर सर्टेन पॉलिसी के हिसाब से हम लोग सिबलिंग डिस्काउंट
We'll put that policy in that document we'll share in the link.
Sab milega. Don't worry about it. You'll get all the information through this video or the description of this video. So please like, share, and subscribe. वो आखिर में भी आएगा ये. So anyway, when you're talking about, I wouldn't call it judging because that's not really a good word. But when you're assessing, yes, thank you. I'm not a part of the admissions process. Miss Fatima is, so she knows the good words. So when you're assessing a student, of course you want some documentary proof of things. So do students need to bring all of their documents like birth certificate, उससे भी पहले की documents अगर available हो वहाँ से लेके and class 1 के result, class 2 के results, or do we just need like class 9, 10th, 11th के results and
I'll take this one. I think what we're basically asking them for is their Cambridge documents. So any statements of results, general certificates that they have from Cambridge. So that's usually like some students have like grade 10 में जो उन्होंने Parsis, Islamiyat, Urdu के exams दिए हुए होते हैं कुछ उन्होंने privately कुछ और दिए हुए होते हैं so we need all of those and then for example अगर आप early round 1 में apply कर रहे थे तो class 9 10 के आपके जो academic records होगा उसके अलावा आपको 3 तस्वीरें लेकर आनी होती हैं or if you have any extracurricular certificates that you would like to show us, then yeah, that's it.
and any other special thing that you would want us to know,
Yeah,
right?
any other
That could
document.
assist in.
Yeah, no birth certificate required.
But they do need to be attested by your schools. If it's your results from your current school, then it needs to be attested. And if it's your CIE grades, we need the certificate, not the statement of result, because statement of result comes in I think August, and the certificate comes 3-4 weeks later.
That's usually where the confusion lies.
Yeah, yeah.
कि Cambridge के अगर हमारे पास results नहीं है तो what would the application process be relying on?
Yeah, so and I think one thing that I would definitely like to add here is that something that we do, like a discussion that comes up often, is that they say कि नहीं हम लोग class 9 के results नहीं लेकर आए, class 9 से आपको क्या फर्क पड़ता है मगर हम लोग जो है या मैंने grades जो है application में डाले थे मैं results अपने साथ नहीं लेकर आया मगर we verify all results again. So you need to bring in photocopies of all your academic documents from attested photocopies. Taki we can re-verify all your grades and then we keep those copies. There are some.
So that's about the credentials and that's about the official documents that students need to bring. Now, moving on to the admissions process itself, like, well, this is a conversation. So is an interview like this conversation or is it like very official and are the students supposed to be in like a tie and in a suit and proper haircut वगैरह? What should they expect from the admissions process, like from the interview itself?
Be yourself. मगर हाँ बिल्कुल ऐसे मत आ जाए जैसे कि बिस्तर से उठ कर आ गए थे मगर ये कि जो है be yourself, try to be as comfortable as possible. All our interviewers are super friendly. We do try to make them sure that the interview is more conversation based, so that you get to express who you are as an individual.
I think all the interviewers have at least 10 years of experience in this education. So they very well know how a student reacts. They've interacted with, if not hundreds, then thousands, I think, thousands of students, and they know exactly if you're nervous or you're not. So, as Ms. Fatma said, I think that's the best advice. Dress sharp, of course. And in addition to that, like just be yourself and tell us about yourself and what you do, your hobbies, your academic background, and then the interview will take it up from there.
Once you come to Cedar College, and I think everyone who's been here, either as an admin, faculty, student, uh, the Cedar community is very, very diverse. Yes. So it's not like we're looking for one type of student. ये नहीं है कि हमको सारे जो है ना वो Einsteins चाहिए. हमें हर तरह का बच्चा चाहिए. Because we want to make sure that because we want to work with all kinds of kids. And we want to work with kids who want to work with us and who have a growth mindset. So everyone has an equal opportunity.
I think what you're trying to say is the attitude. If the attitude is positive, then if you meet us halfway, we'll be there. Like we want to help you. So we understand sometimes the grades are not the only thing that to look at. And if you have good extracurriculars, you've done something like I've had an interview where student was B grader, an average student, but had already done 2 businesses and made like 3-4 million rupees. For a 15 or a 16-year-old to do that, like that shows a lot of skill that person has. They might not be able to do that on a piece of paper for the exam, but then we are as interviewers and as an institution, we can kind of assess that. So we've helped those kids, and those kids have actually gotten better grades in A levels because they got the right teachers, they got the right medium, and the right platform.
And that's the good thing about Cedar. I think that the diversity is not just based on the personalities of students. There are also like it's the overall profile of the students. Like we'll take care of your education. We'll take care of giving you guys the opportunities to grow. As long as you have that growth mindset, and if you want to excel in life, You come to Cedar, and Cedar is going to provide you all the pathways, all the support that you need, all the counseling, all the advice that a student might need to excel in whatever you're doing.
And as a like I head the A-level business department, so I know when I teach, if I get an A grader and if that person gets an A grade, which is a great feeling. Don't get me wrong, I love that too. But you know what I love most is the fact that I got a C grader or a B grader, and at the end they got an A. Like I think that success story as a teacher is so gratifying. It's you tend to realize, okay, no, I made sure that this kid is in the right direction. So that we do believe in that, and all of our teachers believe in that.
And that is definitely true. I mean, the thing that is marketed the most in any educational institution is, of course, the results, vagara. But that's the thing about Cedar, that we particularly focus on getting an improvement from students. We are more focused on improving a student. There are people, for example, who are like I've literally seen such stories where people have not been doing so well in the tests and academics, but through proper counseling and through the training that we provide, through all of that, the students literally outshine themselves, and the best comes out of them.
Sure.
And that is what the Cedar experience is, right?
I mean, if I may expand on this, look, we have approximately 80 teachers on the faculty right now. Each one of them are highly experienced. When you step into the classroom, you have access to the best teacher there is out there. Each one of them has a different teaching methodology also. So it's not like आपको एक कट से सभी एक ही तरह से पढ़ाएंगे. But we give equal like we put equal importance to what is happening outside the classroom, because we feel like there's so much learning that takes place outside, and therefore during the admission process, that is also something that we're gauging whether you are somebody who's going to become a great businessman, or maybe a fantastic actor or a musician. Cedar is one of the only A-level institutes to have like a music studio where we actually produce our own music.
Yeah.
Cedar
You're welcome.
Cedar has a fantastic drama society.
Hmm.
Our STEM societies are, like there are like heads and shoulders above the other A-level institutes.
And the kind of events that Cedar does, by the way, if you follow Cedar's accounts on Instagram, on Facebook, वगैरह वगैरह, जहाँ भी social media पे आप देखेंगे, you'll see that the kind of events and the level of events that Cedar does is really exceptional.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's इस level पे और कहीं
Student driven है, student energy है, and इसीलिए Cedar का एक system जो है वो हर साल evolve भी करता है, because with every new intake that we have, things
New
change.
talent
The
comes in.
energy changes, the direction changes, and we're ready for that change.
Acha, so you guys were talking about subjects, and you guys were talking about teachers. So back when I was applying for my A-levels, back in my day, so I faced this problem that I wanted to study like physics, chemistry, math, like because I wanted to be an engineer. But I also liked accounts. But most schools at that time, of course, it might be a bit different these days, but they had these subject blocks that you could apply to. So like in one particular school, I asked them if I can take accounts with physics, chemistry, and math. No. Okay, can I take Urdu? No. Law? No. So is that a problem that students might face over here? If subject blocks हैं जिसमें apply करना, or can they study anything there?
I'll take this one. You see, in addition to looking over admissions, I also look over academics. I've personally designed the timetable multiple times, and now we have a whole department doing it. Sir Sylvester is one of them, and we made sure. And trust me, it takes a lot of hard work to create a timetable. And if anybody wants to help me out, they have an open offer. But yeah. But the philosophy or the idea behind making that timetable is, and the reason why we go that extra mile is to make sure that what happened to you doesn't happen to any student. Like, I think every student has the right to study any subject that they want. Of course, it has to be like what they wanted to achieve later on, but like you wanted to be an engineer, the right subjects would be physics, chemistry, math, of course. Like if you really like math, then I would advise take further math too. But if you were really interested in law, let's say, in addition to these three subjects, you might be a great lawyer later on as well, right? So you should have that opportunity to study it. And we made sure that timetable does not follow any block. And it takes a lot of effort, trust me, to do that. And we have students like, I have two students who are pure med students. Like they have physics, chem, and bio, and I think one has further as well. And they wanted to study business because they felt like later on they might want to do business, or they were just interested in how the subject is, and they took business, and we allowed them to take it because the timetable allows it, and this happens in both campuses. And another thing that I think,
Timetable doesn't allow it. Mr. Ali Qazi makes sure that it allows it.
Absolutely.
yeah. There's a reason why I don't have hair anymore. So it's because of the timetable.
We've seen him in action, and trust me, it really is not an offer. It is a challenge because the faculty members that we have, the sheer size of the faculty that we have, I think uh, all the top names in any subject are available at Cedar.
And some are exclusive only.
Some are exclusively available at Cedar only, by the way. And the biggest names that you might have heard in matlab, the who's who of the education sector can be found at Cedar. And of course, you get to choose your teachers as well. Acha, usme
Round one.
only in round one. Yes, only in round one. Acha, isi pe, the next question related to this is, what if you choose a student, you choose a teacher, and you find out that, okay, the teacher might be very popular and might be very good for other students, but not for me. So is there an option to change the teacher?
So one of the things that we do when we start the session in August, as soon as the results come in, the first 8 classes, which is like around 1.5 2 weeks of studies, we have an add and drop period. So the first things for us is that if you've made the prerequisites, like if you have the prerequisites for a particular subject, we allow that subject change.
Yeah.
So that's the first part to it. The second is the teacher. So if there is space, because we have a restriction on the class size for every teacher, right? We don't want to exceed that because of many reasons. But if there is space, we'll make sure that we accommodate you. But we won't be able to guarantee because, of course, there's somebody else's preference comes first because they've applied first. But I think
There are too many variables.
there are too many variables.
So you try to accommodate as much to the best of our abilities, and the abilities are too much, too vast.
One problem actually students face is that they'll choose a particular set of teachers and then they realize, okay, let's say somebody picked me for business, Sir Umair for accounting, and Sir Ali Mazada for economics. It might be possible that I'm taking my class in PCHS at noon, Umair is taking at 1, but Sir Ali is taking at 8. So then they're like, okay, no, I have a 3 hour gap now. I want to change. So if it's a genuine concern, we will try to accommodate, but we won't be able to guarantee. We'll try to make sure that we can give the same teacher, but if we can't, we won't be able to guarantee. But I agree with what I kind of believe is that all of our teachers are great. That's why they're with us.
I think, honestly speaking, the admin at Cedar College is one of the most accommodating admin that you will find. We have an open door policy. If you have an issue, you can, like, even the principal will just meet you. If you just walk in and you say, I need to discuss something, the principal will meet you. And our attitude is not, ye nahi hota ki nahi. Ye hota hai, "Achha, let's
If it's
figure
a
out-
genuine
yeah,
concern,
let's
if it's a
figure
genuine
out- yeah.
concern.
Let's figure out how we can do this, or let's figure out how we can help you adjust to what you already have. So the idea is to find a solution.
Yeah.
May not always be a change as you want. Magar ye ki jo hai, we will always make sure that
There
we
is-
support you through the process.
There's no ego involved anywhere that it's my decision and I cannot change it. If there's a better solution out there, we'll go for it. It's very democratic in that way.
Right. All right. So the last question for this entire video would be, ke, how would you I mean, we've talked about it at length anyway. So if there is a prospective student who is coming to Cedar, what can they expect overall from the Cedar experience? I mean, they've gotten the admission, and admission ke baad, matlab, they've chosen their teachers and their academics are sorted. If we talk about the overall Cedar experience, how would you like what would you tell the student what their experience would be like?
So I'll take this one. I think one of the things that we, during the admission process as interviewers, what we try to tell students, and again, this is what I say when we're saying we're counseling them. The 2 years of A levels are probably going to be the most challenging period of your life. Academically, socially, emotionally, there's so much growth that is happening. You're leaving a school, your O level school, where you've been for 12, 13 years. and suddenly you're somewhere, you're like,
And you're also on the brink of adulthood,
Yeah.
right? You're just turning 18.
and you're getting used to new subjects. These are your subjects that you might decide to pursue in the future. In some cases, you find out कि हाँ मैं जिंदगी भर मैंने सोचा था कि मैं doctor बनूंगी, and I come into A levels, I start my pre-med subjects, and I realize this is not what I want to do. So there's so much that's changing.
And there have been such inspirational, transformational stories. There have been students whose parents have been want them to become doctors or engineers, but then they've turned out to become artists and like some.
Great artists.
Fantastic artist.
We've had a student who started out with, I think, business subjects, wanted to do her BBA, and then ended up becoming a culinary artist,
Yeah.
right? Which was just like, ye kaise?
Talking about the same student, her brother also was
Yes,
studying
same
physics
artist.
and then just turned into a very, very brilliant.
Both are doing amazingly well. Like now they're in their professional careers, and I talk to them, and I'm like, wow, like really, this dish is made by you, and they're like, yeah.
So during those 2 years, you can expect a lot. As a Cedar College student, you can expect a lot of support. We'll support you through the changes. Our counseling department will make sure that you have the academic support that you need. Of course, the teachers are there in the classroom, and they're, like we've discussed, they're the best. मगर ये कि जो है, you do need a lot of academic support also, because you need someone who's going to be asking you, is it doing okay? Are you doing well?
Yeah.
What can we do to help you? So there's lots of ways that.
Also involving parents in the process. I think the bigger concern over here is particularly with these transformation stories. I know आखिरी question है थोड़ी लंबी हो गई, लेकिन the most important thing is कि parents do tend to have some expectations from the students, and when there is a gap of expectations, there is a lot of counseling that needs to be done on both sides, and Cedar facilitates.
Yeah, so the counseling is not restricted to the only the child. It's actually half of it is the parents, right? And in addition to that, the parents have a portal access, so they have a username and password. They can log in, check all the academic details, extracurricular details, schedule an appointment with the counselor or the teacher, and then kind of get things sorted out. Most people actually don't need it because they've already sorted it out, but we're talking about the ones that actually need it. We're there.
I think one of the things that we hear most often, especially from students that whose siblings have graduated from Cedar, so when we're talking to their parents, they're just like, "Itna badal gaya."
Yeah.
Like there was so much growth,
Yeah.
and there was like, because again there are so many opportunities, and there's so much support to help you through those opportunities. There's college applications, preparing for entrance tests. And again, you have to take 2 sets of extremely difficult exams. So if you, as a Cedar student, I think what you can definitely expect is a lot of growth, a lot of change, and a lot of support through that process in every way possible. So you will feel, by the time you graduate from Cedar College, you will feel that you're ready to face the real world, and you'll be ready to face the challenges that are out there.
All right. That was, I guess, it for season 4, episode 1. There are lots of things to talk about. Of course, we once you start such conversations, and when you're discussing the school and its policies and its impact on the entire educational sector, that's a never-ending conversation, literally. And at Cedar, we have such a vast faculty and such vast administrative spread, I'd say, that it can't really be covered in just one episode. So thank you very much, Mr. Ali Qazi, and thank you very much, Ms. Fatima Khurshid. And we will definitely meet you in the next episode and a lot more episodes to come. Thank you.